What's up, guys? Today we're gonna see if we can make $200 a day doing Doordash in San Francisco, California. So we're gonna get there around 12 p.m. and we're gonna try to Doordash for almost the rest of the entire day. So far I've made up to around 30 bucks an hour on Doordash. So hopefully, we can work 7 or 8 hours, make 200 bucks, or work even more and maybe even approach 300. So let's see. The first order, about $19. We're in Hunter's Point right now. Only issue is we're a little bit far from the main city with all the restaurants, as you can see over there. Oops. So we're gonna go back to the city, or a bit closer where the restaurants are, and see what we can do. A whole bunch of wings here. On Doordash, when you have a high acceptance rating, they give you the higher priced orders. Check out this view. Not look like San Francisco at all. It's very natural, very beautiful. About to deliver the wings. Okay, so I'm about to drop off some Wendy's, and I had an issue that we'll probably run into at some point, something similar. I was picking up food from a Wendy's in Daly City, and I had to make this weird sort of like sharper than 90-degree turn onto this road before I could get to the Wendy's, but it was right next to this church, and it was also onto a main road with 2 lanes on each side. So basically there were a bunch of people from the church leaving, and they were crossing the street. So I was just like staying there for like 5 minutes, because it was always either the people were crossing or the cars were going. So I just never got a chance to turn. I eventually had to say f*** it and just turn the opposite way. I just ended up turning right because I was able to actually get an opening to turn right. And then when I got to the Wendy's, there was this old woman. She had like a billion items in her order, and she was just like checking, very, very slowly and deliberately to make sure that she had every single item. And then the silver lining was that while I was about to get the first order, a second order at that same Wendy's popped up. So basically, I wasted some time, but then I kind of made up for it by getting the second order, So not every Doordash order you get is going to go smoothly. You'll have stuff like this happen, though. Eventually, the food's going to get delivered. Your task is going to be finished at one point or another. So just keep that in mind. Okay, guys, I'm going to go through the earnings now. So my first order when I was in Hunter's Point was Mr. East's Kitchen, $19, which was pretty good to start out with. And then this wings and pizza order here was actually from a place where it was multiple restaurants combined into one building. So that definitely saved some time and was pretty efficient. So in around an hour, I made 48 bucks, which is pretty good to start with. Now, once I had delivered those first 3 orders, I was kind of in the south part of San Francisco, close to Daly City. So I chose to get these 2 Wendy's orders, which I told you the whole deal with earlier. And I thought it would have been kind of an efficient order because it was 2 Wendy's orders, but it ended up only being about 20 bucks in an hour of time, which is not very good. And here we are at the last of the lunch orders. Had a few orders here, made about 30 bucks, and as you can see, my active time was only about 42 minutes. My dash time was over an hour more than that. So I think what happened was around 3 p.m. is when the lunch orders really start to slow down. So I was just kind of waiting for orders but not getting any by 3 p.m. So that's one of the reasons why I recommend DoorDashing dinner instead of lunch if you have to choose one. Because lunch is just a much shorter period. You're mainly going to be getting orders between 11:30 and 2. Whereas for dinner, you can really get orders between like 5 and 9, even later often. So there's just a lot more flexibility with dinner, and you'll be making more money, which I'll get into soon. Now, as you can see here, dinner is really where you're going to be making the bulk of your money if you do lunch and dinner in a day. And again, this is the other reason why I recommend DoorDashing dinner if you have to choose one. Made $151, a bit less than 4 hours of active time, which is crazy. I mean, it's about like $40 an hour if you use the active time, and even if you use the dash time, which is kind of the total time you're available for dashes and you're in the app. Even then, it's more than $30 an hour. So this was really solid. See, I kept getting this place on Market Street called The Melt. Then Curry Place, Burmese Place, The Melt twice. So once again, you're going to be making the majority of your money at dinner time for sure.
So overall, we made about $250, which I have to say it's pretty damn good.
So I'm going to give you a few tips about DoorDashing in San Francisco. My first tip is that you're not always going to be able to find parking in San Francisco. It's a very tight city. It doesn't need to be a designated parking spot. Just anywhere where it's out of the way of traffic, park there, put on your hazard lights, go get the food, come back and get out of there. So this first place was The Melt. It was on, it had to be this one. So you basically can't really park out front because there is nowhere out front to park. But what you can do in this case is, see, there's going to be like little alleyways around here. Basically parked out back of the restaurant. And there's this little alleyway here. So I would say just come down an alley like this and just park, put on your hazard lights, and just try to get the food as fast as possible and get out of there. Now here in Chinatown, there is parking on the street, as you can see. You could just take any of these spots. But in my case, all the parking was taken. The restaurant is it's basically right here, okay? So what I did instead is I had to circle around once here on the right, and then I came back and I parked in this alleyway right here. So sometimes there will be like spots here available, and it's basically a passenger loading zone. So it's really the perfect place to park. You're only going to be there for 5 or 10 minutes. I still put on my hazard lights, just to let people know that I'm going to be back in my car, and basically just try to find the closest place where it's just not blocking traffic. You can safely park there for 5 or 10 minutes, and where you don't waste too much time walking. Okay, now the second tip I have is basically just to stay in contact with the customer. So sometimes you'll arrive at the restaurant and they'll say, the food's going to be ready in like 10 minutes or something, which is kind of annoying sometimes, but it is what it is. So in that case, what I would do is basically go in the DoorDash app and then text the customer, let them know, hey, the food's going to be a little bit late, maybe about 10 minutes late. Thank you for waiting. Okay, and I like to say thank you for waiting. You could say, I'm sorry that your food is late, but I don't recommend it because I think saying thank you for waiting is just more optimistic, right? It's kind of like focusing on the good rather than the bad of the situation. Okay, so, I arrived at the restaurant, your food is going to be a bit late, thank you for waiting. That's what I like to do anyway. Okay, now one more tip I have is that sometimes you're going to have an order with several drinks, maybe like 3 or 4 drinks, and you're picking up from a place like McDonald's or something. So the first thing is to ask them for a drink container if they don't give you one by default. So get a little carton. Just bear with me for a sec here. Say that you have a little carton right here, right? And then you have the drinks. When you're going through turns, you're definitely going to want to hold on to the drinks. So just kind of like have your hand on the drinks and make the turns. That way the drinks don't spill all over the place, okay? Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed the video and got something out of it. And let me know if you want to see more DoorDash related content. Thank you for watching.